This man has zero juice. Wait for you to come on. Any day now would be great. All right, let's do a switcheroo here.
Nigga working man.
Just ridiculous. Insanity, I tell you. Oh no, it's gotta be on there. My bad. It's foolishness. Anyways. This raggedy thing here. You know, they be ripping. Alright, whatever. Okay. Tripping. Numbers chapter 31. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Avenge the children of Israel and of the Midianites. Afterward shalt thou be gathered unto thy people. And Moses spake unto the people, saying, Arm some of yourselves unto the war, and let them go against the Midianites, and avenge the Lord of Midian. Of every tribe 1,000 throughout all the tribes of Israel shall ye send to war. So there were delivered out of the thousands of Israel 1,000 of every tribe, 12,000 armed for war. And Moses sent them to the war, 1,000 of every tribe, them and Phinehas, the son of Eleazar the priest, to war, with the holy instruments, and the trumpets to blow in his hand. And they warred against the Midianites, as the Lord commanded Moses. And they slew all the males. And they slew the kings of Midian, beside the rest of them that were slain, namely Evi, and Rechem, and Sur, and Hur, and Reba, 5 kings of Midian. Balaam, also the son of Beor, they slew with the sword. And the children of Israel took all the women of Midian captives, and their little ones, and took the spoil of all their cattle, and all their flocks, and all their goods. And they burnt all their cities wherein they dwelt, and all their goodly castles with fire. And they took all the spoil, and all the prey, both of men and of beasts. And they brought the captives, and the prey, and the spoil unto Moses, and Eleazar the priest, and unto the congregation of the children of Israel, unto the camp at the plains of Moab, which are by Jordan near Jericho. And Moses and Eleazar the priest, and all the princes of the congregation went forth to meet them without the camp. And Moses was wroth with the officers of the host, with the captains over thousands, and the captains over hundreds, which came from the battle. And Moses said unto them, Have ye saved all the women alive? Behold, these caused the children of Israel through the counsel of the children of Israel through the counsel of Balaam to commit trespass against the Lord in the matter of Peor, and there was a plague among the congregation of the Lord. Now therefore kill every male among the little ones, and kill every woman that hath known man by lying with him, But all the women, but all the women children, but all the women children that have not known man by lying with him, keep alive for yourselves. And do ye abide, and do ye abide without, and do ye abide without the camp 7 days. Whosoever hath killed any person, and whosoever hath touched any slain, purify both yourselves and your captives on the 3rd day, and on the 7th day, and purify all your raiment, and all that is made of skins, and all work of goat's hair, and all things made of wood. And Eleazar the priest said unto the men of war, which went to the battle, this is the ordinance of the law which the Lord commanded Moses. Only the gold and the silver, the brass, the iron, the tin, and the lead, everything that may abide by fire, ye shall make it go through the fire, and it shall be clean. Nevertheless, it shall be purified with the water of separation, and all that abideth not the fire, and all that abideth not the fire, ye shall make go through water. And ye shall wash your clothes on the 7th day, and ye shall be clean. And afterward ye shall come into the ye shall come into the camp. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, take the sum of the prey that was taken, both of man and of beast, thou and Eleazar the priest, and the chief fathers of the congregation, and divide the prey into 2 parts. Between them that took the war upon them who went out to battle, and between all the congregation, and Levi a tribute unto the Lord of the men of war which went out to battle, 1 soul of 500, both of the persons, and of the beeves, and of the asses, and of the sheep. Take it of their half, and give it unto Eleazar the priest, for an heave offering of the Lord. And the children of Israel, and the children of Israel's half, though thou shalt take 1 portion of 50 of the persons, of the beeves, of the asses, of the flocks, of all manner of beasts, and give them unto the Levites, which keep charge of the tabernacle of the Lord. And Moses and Eleazar the priest did as the Lord commanded Moses. And Moses and Eleazar the priest did as the Lord commanded Moses. And the booty, being the rest of the prey which the men of war had caught, was 600,000, and 70,000, and 5,000 sheep, and 62,000 beeves, and 61,000 asses, and 32,000 persons in all, of women that had not known man by lying with him. And the half, which was the portion of them that went out to war, was in number 300,000, and 30,500 sheep. And the Lord's tribute of the sheep was 615. And the beeves were 36,000, of which the Lord's tribute was 312. And the asses were 30,005, of which the Lord's tribute was 61. And the persons were 16,000, of which the Lord's tribute was 32 persons. And Moses gave tribute, which was the Lord's heave offering, unto Eleazar the priest, and as the Lord commanded Moses. And of the children of Israel's half, which Moses divided from the men that warred. Now the half that pertained unto the congregation was 300,000 and 30,000 and 7,000 and 500 sheep, and 36,000 beeves, and 30,000 asses, and 500 and 16,000 persons. Even of the children of Israel's half, Moses took one portion of 50, both of man and of beast, and gave them unto the Levites, which kept the charge of the tabernacle of the Lord, as the Lord commanded Moses. And the officers, which were over thousands of the host, the captains of thousands, the captains of hundreds, came near unto Moses. And they said unto Moses, Thy servants have taken the sum of the men of war, which are under our charge, and there lacketh not one man of us. We have therefore brought an oblation for the Lord, what every man hath gotten of jewels, of gold, chains, and bracelets, rings, earrings, and tablets, to make an atonement for our souls before the Lord. And Moses and Eleazar the priest took the gold of them, even all wrought jewels, and all the gold of the offering that they offered up to the Lord, of the captains of thousands and of the captains of hundreds, was 16,750 shekels. For the men of war had taken spoil, every man for himself. And Moses and Eleazar the priest took the gold of the captains of thousands and of hundreds, and brought it into the tabernacle of the congregation for a memorial for the children of Israel before the Lord. Numbers chapter 32. Now the children of Reuben and the children of Gad had a very great multitude of cattle. And when they saw the land of Jazer and the land of Gilead, that, behold, the place was a place for cattle, and the children of Gad and the children of Reuben came and spake unto Moses and to Eleazar the priest and unto the princes of the congregation, saying, Ataroth and Dibon and Jazer and Nimrah and Heshbon and Elealah and Shebam and Nebo and Beon, even the country which the Lord smote before the congregation of Israel, is a land for cattle, and thy servants have cattle, Wherefore, said they, if we have found grace in thy sight, let this land be given unto thy servants for a possession, and bring us not over Jordan. And Moses said unto the children of Gad and to the children of Reuben, shall your brethren go to war, and shall ye sit here? And wherefore discourage ye the heart of the children of Israel from going over into the land which the Lord hath given them? Thus did your fathers, when I sent them to Kadesh Barnea to see the land. For when they went up unto the valley of Eshcol and saw the land, they discouraged the heart of the children of Israel, that they should not go into the land which the Lord had given them. And the Lord's anger was kindled the same time. And he sware, saying, surely none of the men that came up out of Egypt from 20 years old and upward shall see the land which I swear unto Abraham, unto Isaac, and unto Jacob, because they have not wholly followed me, save Caleb the son of Jephunneh, the Kenizzite, and Joshua the son of Nun, for they have wholly followed the Lord. And the Lord's anger was kindled against Israel, and he made them wander in the wilderness 40 years, until all the generation that had done evil in the sight of the Lord was consumed. And behold, ye are risen up in your father's stead, and increase. And behold, ye are risen up in your father's stead, an increase of sinful men, to augment yet the fierce anger of the Lord toward Israel. For if ye turn away from after him, he will yet again leave them in the wilderness, and he shall destroy all this people. And they came near unto him, and said, we will build sheepfolds here for our cattle, and cities for our little ones. But we ourselves will go ready armed before the children of Israel, until we have brought them unto their place. And our little ones shall dwell in the fenced cities, because of the inhabitants of the land. We will not return unto our houses until the children of Israel have inherited every man his inheritance. For we will not inherit with them on yonder side Jordan, or forward, because our inheritance is fallen to us on this side Jordan eastward. And Moses said unto them, if ye will do this thing, if ye will go armed before the Lord to war, and will go all of you armed over Jordan before the Lord, until he hath driven out his enemies from before him, and the land be subdued before the Lord. Then afterward ye shall return. And be guiltless before the Lord and before Israel. And this land shall be your possession before the Lord. But if ye will not do so, behold, ye have sinned against the Lord, and be sure your sin will find you out. Build you cities for your little ones, and foals for your sheep, and do that which hath proceeded out of your mouth. And the children of Gad and the children of Reuben spake unto Moses, saying, Thy servants will do as my Lord commandeth. Our little ones, our wives, our flocks, and our cattle shall be there in the cities of Gilead. But thy servants will pass over, every man armed for war, before the Lord to battle, as my Lord saith. So concerning them, Moses commanded Eleazar the priest, and Joshua the son of Nun, and the chief fathers of the tribes of the children of Israel. And Moses said unto them, If the children of Gad and the children of Reuben will pass with you over Jordan, every man armed to battle before the Lord, and the land shall be subdued before you. Then ye shall give them the land of Gilead for a possession. But if they will not pass over with you armed, they shall have possessions among you in the land of Canaan. And the children of Gad and the children of Reuben answered, saying, As the Lord hath said unto thy servants, so will we do. We will pass over armed before the Lord into the land of Canaan, that the possession of our inheritance on this side Jordan may be ours. And Moses gave unto them even the children of Gad, and to the children of Reuben, and unto half the tribe of Manasseh, the son of Joseph, the kingdom of Sihon, king of the Amorites, and the kingdom of Og, king of Bashan, the land, with the cities thereof and the coast, even the cities of the country round about. And the children of Gad built Dibon, and Ataroth, and Aroer, and Atroth, and Shopham, and Jazer, and Jogbeha, and Beth Nimrah, and Beth Haran, fenced cities, and folds for sheep. And the children of Reuben built Heshbon, and Eleah, and Kirjathaim, and Nebo, and Balmeon, their names being changed, and Shema, and gave other names unto the cities which they builded. And the children of Machir, the son of Manasseh, went to Gilead, and took it, and dispossessed the Amorite which was in it. And Moses gave Gilead unto Machir, the son of Manasseh, and he dwelt therein. And Jair, the son of Manasseh, went and took the small towns thereof, and called them Havoth Jair. And Nobah went and took Canath, and the villages thereof, and called it Nobah, after his own name. Pain, tell you. Okay. Don't look like that. Luke chapter 16. And he said also unto his disciples, there was a certain rich man, which had a steward, and the same was accused unto him that he had wasted his goods. And he called him and said unto him, how is it that I hear this of thee? Give an account of thy stewardship, for thou mayest be no longer steward. Then the steward said within himself, what shall I do? For my Lord taketh away from me the stewardship. I cannot dig. To beg I am ashamed. I am resolved what to do, that when I am put out of the stewardship, they may receive me into their houses. And so he called every one of his Lord's debtors unto him, and said unto the first, how much owest thou unto my Lord? And he said, 100 measures of oil. And he said unto him, take thy bill, and sit down quickly, and write 50. And then he said to another, how much owest thou? And he said, 100 measures of wheat. And he said unto him, take thy bill, and write 80. And the Lord commended the unjust steward, because he had done wisely. For the children of this world are in their generation wiser than the children of light. I say unto you, make to yourselves friends of the mammon of unrighteousness, that when ye fail, they may receive you into everlasting habitations. He that is faithful in that which is least is faithful also in much. And he that is unjust in the least is unjust also in much. If therefore ye have not been faithful in the unrighteous mammon, who will commit to your trust the true riches? And if ye have not been faithful in that which is another man's, who shall give you that which is your own? No servant can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or else He will hold to the one and despise the other. Ye cannot serve God and mammon. And the Pharisees also, who were covetous, heard all these things, and they were derided, and they derided him, and they derided him. And he said unto them, Ye are they which justify yourselves before men, but God knoweth your hearts. For that which is highly esteemed among men is abomination in the sight of God. The law and the prophets were until John. Since that time the kingdom of God is preached, and every man presseth into it. And it is easier for heaven and earth to pass than one tittle of the law to fail. Whosoever putteth away his wife and marrieth another committeth adultery. And whosoever marrieth her that is put away from her husband committeth adultery. There was a certain rich man, which was clothed in purple and fine linen, and fared sumptuously every day. And there was a certain beggar named Lazarus, which was laid at his gate, full of sores, and desiring to be fed with the crumbs which fell from the rich man's table. Moreover, the dogs came and licked his sores. And it came to pass that the beggar died, and it came to pass that the beggar died, and was carried by the angels into Abraham's bosom. The rich man also died and was buried. And in hell he lifted up his eyes, being in torments, and seeth Abraham afar off, and Lazarus in his bosom. And he cried and said, Father Abraham, have mercy on me, and send Lazarus, that he may dip the tip of his finger in water and cool my tongue, for I am tormented in this flame. And Abraham said, Son, remember that thou in thy lifetime receivest thy good things, and likewise Lazarus evil things. But now he is comforted, and thou art tormented. And beside all this, between us and you, there is a great gulf fixed, so that they which pass from hence to you cannot. Neither can they pass to us that would come from thence. Then he said, I pray thee therefore, Father, that thou wouldest send him to my father's house, for I have 5 brethren, that he may testify unto them, lest they also come into this place of torment. Abraham saith unto him, They have Moses and the prophets, let them hear them. And he said, Nay, Father Abraham, but what if one went unto them from the dead, they will repent. And he said unto him, If they hear not Moses and the prophets, neither will they be persuaded, though one rose from the dead. Corinthians chapter 3. Do we begin again to commend ourselves? Or need we, as some others, epistles of commendation to you, or letters of commendation from you? Ye are our epistle written in our hearts, known and read of all men. For as much as ye are manifestly declared to be the epistle of Christ ministered by us, written not with ink, but with the Spirit of the living God, not in tables of stone, but in fleshly tables of the heart. And such trust have we through Christ to Godward. Not that we are sufficient of ourselves to think anything as of ourselves, but our sufficiency is of God, who also hath made us able ministers of the New Testament, not of the letter, but of the Spirit. For the letter killeth, but the Spirit giveth life. But if the ministration of death, written and engraven in stones, was glorious, so that the children of Israel could not steadfastly behold the face of Moses for the glory of his countenance, which glory was to be done away, how shall not the ministration of the Spirit be rather glorious? For if the ministration of condemnation be glory, much more doth the ministration of righteousness exceed in glory. For even that which was made glorious had no glory in this respect, by reason of the glory that excelleth. For if that which is done away was glorious, much more that which remaineth is glorious. Seeing then that we have such hope, we use great plainness of speech, and not as Moses, which put a veil over his face, that the children of Israel could not steadfastly look to the end of that which is abolished. But their minds were blinded, for until this day remaineth the veil untaken away in the reading of the Old Testament, which veil is done away in Christ. But even unto this day, when Moses is read, the veil is upon their heart. Nevertheless, when it shall return to the Lord, the veil shall be taken away. Now the Lord is that Spirit. And where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. But we all, with open face, beholding in a glass the glory of the Lord, are changed into the same image from glory to glory, even as by the Spirit of the Lord. Yeah. Just tell you. I don't know what to tell you. Psalm 81. Psalm 81 to the chief musician upon Gittith, a psalm of Asaph. Sing aloud unto God our strength. Make a joyful noise unto the God of Jacob. Take a psalm and bring hither the timbrel, the pleasant harp with the psaltery. Blow up the trumpet in the new moon, in the time appointed on our solemn feast day. For this was a statute for Israel and a law of the God of Jacob. This he ordained in Joseph for a testimony when he went out through the land of Egypt, where I heard a language that I understood not. I removed his shoulder from the burden. His hands were delivered from the pots. Thou calledest in trouble, and I delivered thee. I answered thee in the secret place of thunder. I proved thee at the waters of Meribah, Selah. Hear, O my people, and I will testify unto thee, O Israel. If thou art hearkened unto me, there shall no strange God be in thee, neither shalt thou worship any strange God. I am the Lord thy God, which brought thee out of the land of Egypt. Open thy mouth wide, and I will fill it. But my people would not hearken to my voice. Israel would none of me. So I gave them up unto their hearts, unto their own heart's lust, and they walked in their own counsels. Oh, that my people had hearkened unto me, and Israel had walked in my ways. I should soon have subdued their enemies, and turned my hand against their adversaries. The haters of the Lord should have submitted themselves unto him, but their time should have endured, forever. He should have fed them also with the finest of the wheat, and with honey out of the rock should I have satisfied thee. Honey out of the rock. Honey out of the rock. It is 2:39. It's 1:32. This thing called. Por eso. Time flies when you're having fun. Ándale pues. All right. Representing all the people. Only blacks will represent the universe and use non-specific organizational titles that avoid identification with their own people. The NAACP represents the civil rights interests of colored people and minorities and poor whites. The National Urban League represents the welfare of poor people and the multicultural and poor whites. And the Rainbow Coalition represents women, people of the rainbow, and poor whites. And the Nation of Islam is moving to represent all oppressed people. Who then is representing the political interests of black Americans? An exchange on an exchange on the National Public Radio program in 1998 provides a good example of the irrelevance and vulnerability of black groups that do not have black issues as a focus and priority. A very high official of one of the oldest black civil rights organizations described it as one that has always had civil rights at its core, but recognized that in a changing America, black civil rights cannot be the organization's sole focus. He said, there are new non-white minorities, people of color, who are demanding a place in the sun. And even though their agenda is not totally like blacks, we must be prepared to embrace them. He spoke, too, about the long history of extensive white involvement in the organization, and that it must fight for all people of color, such as blacks, Asians, and Hispanics, women, senior citizens, homosexuals, and even poor whites. The Hispanic caller, named Mike, however, took issue with the black leader. Mike asserted that Hispanics were not people of color and requested that the organization not include Hispanics when it spoke of representing people of color. Mike went on to say that he, his family, and all his Hispanic friends were white and did not want or need the black organization to represent them. He said, Hispanics and Asians have their own organizations, so why don't blacks just look out for their own people? The black leader challenged the caller to look in the mirror, and on his driver's license and tell him what he saw. When the Hispanic caller said, white, I see white, the official of the black organization responded, so we do represent you. White is a color too. Given the dire needs of black Americans, the question clearly is it appropriate behavior for a premier civil rights organization to force itself on people who do not want or need its help while black Americans go begging? Our determined but misdirected compassion is one of our greatest impediments to self-empowerment. We fail to concentrate our resources to empower black Americans. How can black Americans acquire collective wealth and power resources when our lead organizations dissipate our limited resources on civil rights for everybody? A study of material from a number of ethnic, language, religious, and gender minority organizations revealed that none of these groups include blacks in their programs, policies, and activities. In his book, Winning Black America, Mark Green listed all the nation's top minority organizations, and the only groups that even use the word minority in their program descriptions were the black civil rights organizations. Ignoring black people's dilemma by equating them to all so-called aggrieved groups is wrong-headed, whether it is done by whites, blacks, or others. Not only does it give the false impression that all people in this nation have the same experiences as black people, It also injures and minimizes the impact of centuries of slavery, segregation, and ongoing racism. Worse, it releases white society from its obligations to correct the conditions imposed on blacks. Organizations whose agendas have evolved into this kind of scattered focus do not put group self-interests first. However, just as their missions became amorphous over the years, they can reassess they can reassess their organizational direction and change once again. If they choose to be part of the effort to maximize black self-sufficiency and black economic competitiveness, they can refocus their missions to promote and support black group self interest and political empowerment. Know your competitors. 247. Know your competitors. To promote its own self interest, a group should only select for allies those who will support the group and will not benefit from its demise. There is an orchestrated effort to avoid black issues and to supplant them with Hispanic or other minorities. In 1972, the National Hispanic Party conceived a plan to subordinate black Americans by the year 2000 by bringing in a layer of minority ethnic groups between whites and blacks. The Hispanic empowerment strategy is to track and copy everything that black Americans do politically and economically, then offer Hispanics a more socially acceptable alternative to blacks. Then offer Hispanics as a more socially acceptable alternative to blacks, like Asian, Arab, European, gay, handicapped, and women's organizations. Hispanic organizations do not promote a black agenda, nor do they equate black and white or black and Hispanic interest. Hispanics and other so-called minorities are competing against blacks, whether the black overclass knows it or not. Some Hispanic groups are even more competitive and freely state their intention to totally displace blacks on the American agenda. In the spring of 1997, C-SPAN aired conference sessions for the Council of La Raza, several speakers spoke openly and emphatically about how Hispanics would change the issues in this country from black and white to white and Hispanic. The number of Hispanics in the United States tripled between 1970 and 1990 and will surpass the black population by 2002. While Hispanics prepare to celebrate becoming this nation's major minority population, there is little public discussion on the socio-economic impact on black Americans. In a society that maintains a racial hierarchy, discord can be expected as groups compete for resources, especially if one group is shackled by harmful legacies. Arthur Michael Lind, in his book The Next American Nation, spoke of how Hispanics inherited affirmative action and other programs that were originally designed to help black Americans because black leadership failed to protest it. Lind said, one by one, Hispanic mayors will replace black mayors. Hispanic contractors will edge out black contractors. Hispanic quotas in education and hiring will increase. Hispanics will demand their own congressional districts at a price, if necessary, of the destruction of the black majority districts. Lind expressed amazement that black leaders would allow white women and ethnic minorities to replace blacks. He wondered what black civil rights leaders would have said in the 1960s had they known that within one generation the primary beneficiaries of affirmative action and other civil rights initiatives would be well-to-do white women, Asians, and Hispanics. Most of these Hispanics are classified as whites and live in Mexico, Cuba, Salvador, El Salvador, Honduras, and Guatemala for decades after the end of the civil rights movement. Yet they now displace blacks. How do today's black leaders justify their active role in helping women, Hispanics, Asians, and other immigrants capitalize on black issues, then edge out and subordinate blacks? Political action step number 2: challenge immigration laws and public policies that have forced black people to become this nation's only non-immigrant and permanent minority. Blacks must mobilize at the grassroots level and challenge this nation's immigration policies, which force them to be the only planned, permanent, involuntary minority in a social democracy that operates on the premise that the majority will win and rule, and the minority will lose and be ruled. Wealth and power follow numbers. This country was founded on the principles of liberty, opportunity, and reward for achievement, so long as you were white or could reasonably be accepted as white. In the mid 1700s, blacks made up approximately 34% of the population. After the ratification of the U.S. Constitution, one of the first acts of the new Congress was to enact the 1790 Naturalization Law that restricted citizenship to free white persons. Immigration laws have controlled black population numbers. Over the last 200 years, ethnic immigrants have bumped blacks from employment, business, education, and political opportunities, and used them as a buffer against hate groups. Layer after layer of ethnic immigrants receive the advantage of the fruits of black people's labor and consumer markets. Black Americans served as a safety net, assuring every ethnic group that they could never fall any lower than the highest black person. But each immigrant group's arrival brought additional harsh conditions for blacks. Throughout most of the 19th and 20th centuries, black leaders were aware of the negative impact immigrants had on black Americans and petitioned the federal government to halt open immigration until the nation had rendered justice to black Americans. In the mid-1960s, however, black leaders made two dramatic reversals that were to have lasting effects on blacks and from which they would never recover. First, black leaders abandoned black people and reversed the commitment of the civil rights from blacks to humanitarian support for all struggling people. Second, they not only dropped their opposition to immigration, but began to support it. In the book, Immigration Reconsidered, Lawrence Lawrence Fuchs, a political, uh, yeah. Let's see. All right. Fuchs, a political scientist who was published widely in immigration and ethnic studies, describes the chain of events. In the mid 1960s, Cuban immigrants were flooding into Miami and displacing blacks from their service jobs. Though blacks were economically devastated, Martin Luther King Jr. decided not to pit black economic needs against the desires of Cubans to come to this country. He referred to them as struggling minorities, and the die was cast. Almost all black leaders bought the social accommodation script. Fuchs states in part because King's inspiration almost every major black leader in the country, including the mayors of several large cities and leaders of national organizations, signed an advertisement for the International Rescue Committee in 1978, headlined Black Americans Urge Admission of Indo-Chinese Refugees. Fuchs says that King's altruistic attitude was picked up by such people as Vernon Jordan, past president of the Urban League, Benjamin Hooks, past president of the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, Jesse Jackson, founder of the Rainbow Coalition, and various members of the Congressional Black Caucus. In the 1970s, Congresswoman Curtis R. Collins, Democrat, Illinois, declared that Americans must continue to have an overriding loyalty to mankind as a whole. Congressman Mickey Leland, Democrat, Texas, called on the federal government to help refugees out of our compassionate commitment to human rights. Just as white leaders had done for centuries, black leaders across the board put the needs of other groups before the unmet needs of black people and forgot about the competitive nature of our society. Black people suffered. What's today? Today is Wednesday. All right. Black people suffered a double loss when their leaders reversed their attitudes about immigration. Not only let's see what's up with that. Not only were the needs of black Americans subordinated, but so were the needs of people of African descent outside of the United States. The leaders did not challenge immigration policies that prohibited immigration from black countries, committing instead to make them a little more comfortable wherever they were. They were satisfied pushing America to rid Haiti of a despot political regime rather than pushing America to extend the same immigration options to Haitians. Seriously, though. Seriously. Ooh, Monday. Okay. Okay. The leaders did not challenge immigration policies that prohibited immigration from black countries, committing instead to make them a little more comfortable wherever they were. They were satisfied pushing America to rid Haiti of a despot political regime rather than pushing America to extend the same immigration options to Haitians or Africans that they extended to European, Asian, and Latin American nations. Black people remained on the bottom of the pecking order as their leaders helped competing groups come in above them. Like the first immigration law, the 1924 law declared America to be a white nation and had a zero immigration quota for people of African descent. That remained in effect until the mid 1960s when it increased from zero to one half of 1%. The new immigration laws ensured that European ethnic groups, later expanded to Asians and Hispanics, remained dominant by setting new quotas based first on the national origin of immigrants, then on their skills and training and family reunification. In some rare exceptions, foreigners were granted political asylum. Millions of Hispanics and Asians illegally immigrate to America and are regularly granted amnesty. For for physical and ideological reasons, people of African descent do not qualify for the special exemptions. They cannot walk across the border. And since blacks around the world live under similar conditions, it's difficult to prove they are immigrating from political rather than economic reasons. Black Americans cannot reproduce fast enough to keep up with the pace of 3 to 4 million immigrants who annually enter this country. What can the black masses do at this point in time? Grassroots blacks can begin to pressure their leaders to go back and address the needs of black people. Black leaders can demonstrate their commitment to their own people by challenging the immigration laws, calling for a national dialogue and mobilizing black masses. Black people can relocate their places of residence to become a majority population in specific cities or regions of the country. Blacks would have a population advantage if they were to relocate or ethno-aggregate in the 6 southern states of Florida, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, Louisiana, South Carolina. They could become a significant political and economic force and impact regional and national politics. They could control the electoral votes in presidential elections. Once they become the majority population, they must begin to act like the majority. Many blacks reacted to immigration by fleeing their former neighborhoods. Blacks living in suburban areas near large urban cities could increase their political and economic impact by relocating back into key communities and cities. Local governments could offer the black middle class incentives such as tax abatements, homestead sites, as well as business, employment, and political opportunities to encourage them to relocate to black urban neighborhoods. Municipal political bodies, especially those in majority black cities, must publicly define and constitute a, must publicly define what constitutes a minority. If blacks were originally classified as a minority because they were legally and customarily excluded from the nation's political, economic, educational, and social resources, what is the justification for classifying ethnic, religious, class, gender, and language groups as minorities and equating them to black Americans? When were these groups shut out of the system without alternatives? When were these groups shut out of the system without alternatives? Less than 1% of them were in this country when blacks were being enslaved and Jim Crow segregated. Why is the poverty of ethnic groups that came into this country in that condition? Why is the poverty of ethnic groups that came into this country in that condition equated to black poverty, which stems from 260 years of slavery? These are the kinds of questions that blacks ought to raise with both black and white leaders. Say for y'all. Don't know what to say for y'all. Who is this diva? Can we get a fridge reveal? Collard greens and a 40. Collard greens and a 40. Y'all think y'all smart, don't you? Think you're smart, don't you? Think y'all smart? Who's that? Collard greens and a 40. Guess I can't do that again. All right, whatever.